What's going on, guys?
I'm Austin.
I'm Nyah.
And today we are bringing you guys the MLB predictions for the Pittsburgh Pirates for the 2026 season. The day that this video comes out is opening day, so it should be a national holiday. So we're celebrating opening day by doing our predictions for our favorite team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we have a couple categories we're going to run through here.
We filled out these predictions without telling each other what we were putting down, so this is going to be a shock to both of us on what we wrote down. And we also have a couple categories at the end for just the general MLB.
So without further ado, let's get into our Pittsburgh Pirates 2026 predictions. And number one, we're starting off with the record. I think that the Pirates this season is the most optimistic I've been about the team over the past decade going into a season. So I think best case scenario this season, their record is going to be 86-76.
You're so weird. That was mine. Exactly. Can you see it? 86-76.
But I think best case scenario, 86-76 is going to be our record with our already established young pitching staff, and as well as the new offensive additions we bring in. However, worst case scenario, I see us sitting around the 75 win mark again, which will be stationary and stagnant over the past decade. And that's worst case scenario. We want improvement. We want an above 500 record. So I feel like this season we could get there. So that's where I stand.
So I had the 86-76 record as well. Where did you have us finishing in the NL Central?
I have us finishing second. I think the Cubs are going to win the NL Central, and I think we're going to be second behind them.
Okay, so I have us third, only because the Brewers are just so annoying every year. And I have our best case being 90 wins.
90?
I would really love if we could be 90-72, but I think realistic's 86-76 if we're having a good year. Worst case, I have 74 wins.
Okay, so we're kind of in the same ballpark, but you pulled 90 out your, what, like...
I'm optimistic. That's if, Connor Griffin comes up early.
Okay, so now our biggest strength is, without a doubt, our starting rotation is our biggest strength. And we're not even going to have Jared Jones to start this season, but just without Jared Jones, Braxton Ashcraft, Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Carmen Majinski, just everybody in there, you can count on everybody in our rotation to go out there and give you 5 strong innings every single game. And now something else that I think is very underrated for us, the more I think on it, I think we have a very underrated bullpen. I think our bullpen has the potential to get us close to the 90-win mark. Look.
Okay, wait. I need you to run through the guys.
I'm about to give you a little rundown right quick.
Okay.
So Mason Montgomery, new addition to the team. So far in his career, his stats haven't shown anything, but I do feel like he is a better pitcher than his stats show. This season, spring training, he had a 2.8 ERA. His stuff looks really good. Everything. Gregory Soto, new addition, good lefty arm. I'm excited to see what he can do. He has good stuff as well. Same thing as Mason Montgomery. The stats are kind of inflated, but I think he's better than his stat sheet shows. We have Isaac Mattson, who showed really good signs last year. He was so good last year. I'm excited to see what he can do this year. He had a 0 ERA in spring training. And then now we have our closer, Dennis Santana, who was really solid and reliable last year. So we're looking to build on top of that. And that right there is 5 guys that you can count on to come in and get the job done. And I feel like that is good for us, and I feel like I'm happy with that going into the season. However, I can also see a world where the bullpen implodes and is not that great. And then if that happens, that's where the Pirates end up more towards the 75 win mark.
Okay. I wouldn't say it's technically a strength, but I do agree with you that if they don't perform well, that is going to be a big reason. I think blowing games is going to be one of our weaknesses
And
this year.
I wouldn't say it's a strength either. I'm just saying I think it's underrated. Like, I feel like it's an underrated aspect of the team.
Okay. I had my biggest strength as, the starting rotation. It's not rocket science to figure out 1 through 4. No hate to Carmen. I love Carmen too. I'm ready for Jared to come back.
Yeah.
And did you do your weakness or no?
I didn't talk about it, but
Okay.
So, right now, I feel like the biggest weakness on the Pittsburgh Pirates is the third base situation. I feel like we backed ourselves into a hole this offseason, not getting a third baseman. We were in on Okamoto.
And Suarez.
We were in on Suarez. We were in trade talks for Alec Boehm. We were in trade talks for Mark Vientos. And we ended up getting nobody. So we're riding it out with Jared Triolo starting shortstop on opening day, and Nick York and Nick Gonzalez going back and forth between third base. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think that's sustainable. I'm not upset Jared Triolo's on the team. I like Jared Triolo as a player. However, I don't like him as an everyday starter for a valuable position. He's a Gold Glove defender, so I think he's very valuable off the bench as a utility player, where, like, if Brandon Lau needs a day off, he'll play second today. If whoever's at third needs a day off, he'll slide in at third, and he could do that all throughout the infield. So I feel like that's very valuable to have off the bench. However, I feel like right now we're just playing that waiting game until Connor Griffin comes up, which they sent him down. He started the season in AAA. I do feel like he'll be up in May, but I just feel like we're a worse team with him in the minors than if he would have just made the opening day roster.
I agree. I also have the third base and shortstop situation. I pretty much agree with everything you said. I feel like we have the same stuff, but I've never been a Jared Triolo fan. Y'all can ask him. I've been his biggest hater ever, just because I feel with Jared Triolo, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I think he was the only, positive a lot of people that weren't Pirate fans saw out of us last year, because he had, 2 hot weeks in September. And, that was it. But if you guys were watching him from May to September, every at-bat at the game like we were, it was horrible. His offense is just, besides those 2 weeks, was horrible. So, and I don't want Nick playing third. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't see where we're going with Nick Gonzalez.
He's 5'7".
Playing third. He could barely pass as a second baseman.
Lots of errors
defensively.
Last year. And I love Nick, but we just have to be realistic.
Yeah, I love Nick too, and his offense was good in spring training. In spring training, he hit 380.
Just is that going to correlate?
But it's just, yeah.
Let's not talk about the negatives anymore.
Yeah, we're just kind of playing the waiting game, as I mentioned, until Connor Griffin comes up, which
hopefully is May. By May.
Hopefully they don't keep him down there rotting too long. Hopefully it's like a Paul Steen situation where he comes up in May and he's here to stay. Next up, we have our breakout player, and this is the year, ladies and gentlemen. This is the year O'Neal Cruz establishes himself as
stole all
an
my
all-star.
picks.
I'm talking about O'Neal. This is the year O'Neal Cruz. Look, ladies and gentlemen, O'Neal Cruz, the mind frame.
I don't know, are you?
O'Neal Cruz. This is the year, ladies and gentlemen. O'Neal Cruz breaks out. He has a 30-30 season, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. He hits for a decent average. He hits 250 to 260. Has a really good season. Puts everybody on the map. Still hits nukes, 450-foot bombs every single day. O'Neal Cruz, breakout.
Okay, I also had O'Neal, but I have another one too. Because O'Neal has been on the team for some time, and I wanted to include a younger player. So I do have Connor Griffin when he eventually does end up making his debut. I'm hoping that this time that he's going to spend in the minors in the beginning will help him figure out some of those kinks that he had in spring training. I know he was, batting 171?
Something like that.
Hit a couple home runs, but I hope that he has a really great year, because I think he's amazing, and I think he could have that and same thing with O'Neal. I think we have a better team this year, obviously, than last year. I think he's going to feel less pressure being on him. Same thing with Brian Reynolds, honestly. I think those guys are going to just be able to be a lot more consistent.
No, I agree 100%. And with O'Neal Cruz, like, we saw what he could do in the World Baseball Classic and so far in spring training. So I'm ready for him to take that next step. And it's just the fact if he can stay healthy and if it can correlate for 162 games of the regular season. So next up, we have our team MVP. Without a doubt, everybody knows Paul Skeens. I think he's running it back, winning Cy Young. He's going to have another sub-2 ERA. He's going to lead the league in strikeouts. His record's going to look a lot better this year than it was last year. Even though, in my opinion, I feel like wins and losses for starting pitchers are irrelevant, and I feel like they don't matter because they don't show the story. And I feel like Paul Skeens is a testimony of that, where you could be the best pitcher in the world, but if you're on a bad team, your win-loss record is going to be bad. So I feel like that doesn't really matter, but Paul Skeens, obviously, team MVP. Just got to stay healthy, keep grinding, keep pushing, and bring home another Cy Young.
Okay, so I have someone we haven't talked about yet. Obviously, the obvious answer is Paul Skeens, but I wanted to go a different route. I have Brandon Lau.
Okay.
I
almost
think
put him.
I'm hoping. I love that, signing. I love that we brought him in. I think that he's going to be a really valuable everyday player to the team, even if some people don't, really realize it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yep. I agree with that.
I think he's going to be very consistent, and, we need consistency, especially in the lineup.
Yep. Brandon Lau is a player that I wanted the Pirates to go after for a year before we traded him.
Last trade deadline.
Yeah. He was rumored to get traded, and I was like, I want the Pirates to grab him. We finally got him, so I'm happy to see what he can do in the black and gold. But there's a couple new additions that, we should talk about, like Ryan O'Hearn. At first, I'm kind of, torn about how he's going to perform in the outfield because obviously he's a first baseman primarily, but we brought him in to kind of play the outfield because we have Spencer Horwitz at first who had a good year last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was solid
really
last year.
Really good year for coming off of a pretty rough injury.
Yeah, so he was solid for us last year. So we brought in Ryan O'Hearn. He's going to play the outfield primarily. I'm excited to see what he could do. We know he can hit, but the defense kind of scares me, especially mixed in with Brian Reynolds out there as well, and O'Neal Cruz. So, it's probably one of the worst defensive outfields in the league.
A lot of collisions and errors in the beginning, I believe, but hopefully those kinks get worked out by May.
And then we also brought in Marcell Ozuna.
Ozuna from the Pirates.
And I'm kind of torn with this signing because I don't like him as a person. However, he can hit the ball. He's a good hitter, a good ball player. So I'm excited to see what he could do as our DH spot. And I love Andrew McCutchen to death. However, I feel like in the year 2026, I hope Kutch proves me wrong. But I feel like in the year 2026, if we had to give one spot to the DH, I feel like Marcell Ozuna is more productive than Andrew McCutchen in 2026.
I agree.
So
I unfortunately think it was time, just where we're at with the lineup now, but we'll always love Kutch.
We always love Kutch. And now, here comes our hot take. My Pittsburgh Pirate hot take is, I think the Pirates are going to make the playoffs as a wild card team, but I think they're going to be in the divisional race until the last week of the season. So I think it's going to come down to the last couple games where we are in the race for the divisional title, and then the Cubs are going to outbeat us by a couple games.
Okay. Mine's a little negative. A little controversial. If the Pirates don't have serious contract talks with Paul Skeens and Connor Griffin, our future's over.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I think Skeens is good as gone. when his contract's up.
Obviously he's as good as gone, but like there at least needs to be effort shown by Bob Nutting and Ben Cherington.
But I think Skeens is gone. However, I think there's still time for Connor Griffin. Like, I feel like the ship hasn't sailed on a contract extension there. They've had talks.
Need to do it while he's young. You know what I mean? It'd be great if we can get it done in that first year, because if 2 years go by and he is performing amazing, we can't lock him down to that 8-year long-term deal.
It needs to be kind of like a Roman Anthony, Ronald Acuna Jr. kind of deal, where it's like an 8-9 year deal for a little bit over $100 million, which the talks that did come out, the rumors, the stories that came out was we were talking with Connor Griffin on an 8 to 9 year deal worth about like $110 million, which I feel like is doable, but it's just, will he put pen to paper and sign that? Because we know his potential. He knows his potential. So he doesn't want to like sell himself short when he could get $400 million instead of $110. So it's just all hoping if he buys into our process, what we're doing here, and wants to put pen to paper.
Do you think there is any way possible Paul Skeens re-signs with the Pirates?
I think it's possible, but
out of 10, like what do you think the chances are?
I think it's like a 2, but that's even being high. But I do think it's possible, but it would require Mr. Nutting to bust open that checkbook. Mr. Nutting, open the checkbook. Here's what he should do.
A lot more money than what we thought. Let me tell you, we looked it up the other day.
Here's what Bob Nutting should do. He should open up his checkbook, rip out a check, hand it to Paul Skeens, hand him a blank check, and tell him to put down whatever number he wants, and he can have it.
This man's a billionaire.
Like, that's what Paul Skeens deserves, and
$150 million, $200 million would be fine.
And we didn't even get into this, but if there's a lockout after this year, this might be the last full season Paul Skeens is in a Pirates uniform.
That's why I'm saying if we don't have the talk now, it's not happening. Specifically with Paul Skeens, I will agree with you. There is time for Connor Griffin, but it is hopeful seeing that before the season even started and before he's even on the Major League roster, that they are trying to talk to him about it.
I agree.
But it can't stop there. We can't keep trying, bare minimum effort. Get it done.
I'm sick of the...
Get it done!
I'm sick of the we tried but came up short act. It happens so many times
every off-season.
This off-season especially was worse.
Every trade deadline.
This offseason especially was worse with Suarez and
Kyle Schwarber.
But it's okay. We improved on paper. So now you want to get into the next one?
So just like our final verdict overall, how we think the season's going to go, I would say like a 7 out of 10 is what I'm hoping for. I would be happy with that, especially compared to last season. I know we both had a lot of hope last season, and having a full year of Paul Skeens didn't quite turn out the way we wanted it to with the lineup issues we had last year, but I think we're gonna have a lot better of a year this year.
Yeah, I agree. I had an 8 out of 10. I just feel like this is the best chance that we have with Paul Skeens right now to do something and be good and make a playoff push, especially with Bubba Chandler coming up, Hunter Barco out the pen, which I think he'll end up taking a rotation spot probably around the midway point of the season. Maybe when Jared Jones is coming back, maybe that's when they'll shift around the rotation and Hunter Barco will get a spot. Braxton Ashcraft, really good pitcher. I love watching him pitch. Mitch Keller, of course, Mr. Consistency is what I'll call him.
Mitch.
So I feel like we just have to put it all together. We finally have an offense this year because that's what's held us back. So hopefully we could score some runs, give our pitching staff some run support, and then make a run and bring
one playoff game in Pittsburgh.
Bring Bucktober back to the bird.
Please. All right, so now we're going to move forward onto our just general MLB predictions. We have a couple to go through. First, we're going to start with our World Series predictions. You want to go first?
Yep. I think the World Series this year is going to be a rematch of the Blue Jays and Dodgers.
I almost put that.
And I'm not going to lie, I had the Dodgers running it back. But just because I hate the Dodgers, the Blue Jays are getting their revenge. And the Blue Jays are going to beat the Dodgers in the 2026 World Series.
I love your optimism. I had the Dodgers in Seattle. Love the Blue Jays. I do see the Blue Jays being more realistic. I just really want Seattle to get it done. I want them to just make that one final hump. They've never won a World Series, correct?
Correct.
I really just want them to get it done. They were so close last year. They had such a good performance. But I have the Dodgers, unfortunately, winning because that is just the state of the league right now.
Yeah.
Not much more on that, hopefully. I know you aren't hoping for a lockout. I know a lot of people don't want a lockout, don't want baseball to be on pause. I think it needs to happen because it's just not even enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
And see. Especially coming from a small market team.
I feel
we will never even touch a fraction of what they spend.
And I feel like a salary cap is needed, but if you add a salary cap, you also need a salary floor.
Yeah.
Both of them are needed. However, I feel like with the way the league is right now, I feel like they missed their chance to implement one because since there was never one, I feel like the teams and owners are not, and the players are not going to be open to adding one now. So I feel like they missed their chance.
Especially people are... I swear, every new contract sign, is now the highest paid DH. It's now the highest paid second baseman. Everyone's getting paid more and more every single time a new free agent is signing.
All right, next up, we have our MVP predictions for this coming season. My American League MVP prediction is Bobby Witt Jr. I think Bobby Witt is going to have a really good season and win MVP. I'm a very big fan of Bobby Witt. I love watching him play. I think he's going to win MVP over Aaron Judge this year. And my NL MVP, I had Ohtani, but I took him off because I want to be different, you know? I don't want to put Ohtani because he's won the past couple years. So my MVP prediction for the National League this year is Ronald Acuna Jr. I think that he's going to have a good year, and I feel like he's going to keep the Braves in contention solely by himself. I don't think the Braves are going to be that great this year, especially with them already losing Spencer Strider. But I do think Ronald Acuna Jr. will keep them kind of afloat for the season, and I feel like it'll be enough for them to give him MVP.
I like that. Love Ronald. Ronald was one of the first, when I first got into baseball, players that wasn't on the Pirates that I knew. The first ever Pirate game I went to, besides when I was a kid, obviously, was against the Braves. But, so my MVPs for the American League, I also had Bobby Witt. And for the National League, I have someone who I'm not really a fan of, but I can see it happening, Juan Soto.
I almost put him.
Just because he did end the year really well compared to how he started. And it's Juan Soto.
All right, so now our Cy Young predictions. For the National League Cy Young, of course, I've got Paul Skeens down. And now for the American League Cy Young, the obvious thing to do was to put Tarek Skubal. But, I didn't do that.
I didn't either.
For the American League Cy Young, I have Garrett Crochet winning the American League Cy Young.
You're such a copycat.
He was so close last year. Him and Skubal battled it out, but he ultimately came up short. So I feel like this year, Crochet's going to outduel Skubal for Cy Young.
I agree. I want him to, in that final stretch, take over Skubal.
Did you have the
Yeah, I
same two?
I had Paul Skeens as well.
So we'll just move on. The team that everybody should watch out for, and I feel like nobody's talking about them, the Kansas City Royals.
I thought about them, but at the same time, how much can Bobby Witt really do?
But see, they don't just have Bobby Witt. Salvador Perez is a good
I love
veteran
Salvador.
presence. Perez is a good veteran presence. Of course, Vinny is good over there at first base. Miguel Garcia won World Baseball Classic MVP, so he's looking to transition that over to the season.
Okay.
Seth Lugo in the rotation. Cole Ragans in the rotation. I feel like they have a very solid team, and I just hope that they could all put it together, especially in a weak AL Central. I feel like they have the opportunity to run away with that division over the Tigers and Guardians. I feel like the Guardians are on the decline. The Tigers are kind of stationary, stagnant, especially if this is their last year with Scooball. So I just feel like the Royals have a chance here to kind of propel past the entire division.
No, I like that. I do like the Royals. I hope they do well. My surprise team is the A's.
Okay, I like that.
I think with this move to Vegas coming up, they did do some stuff in the offseason. I love Jacob Wilson. I really think that they could have a good year if they can be consistent.
I agree. I like the A's.
If there is a lockout, this would be their last full season before they move to Vegas, correct?
Yes.
Because they move in 2027.
Yes.
So, this is a really big year for them. They really need to establish themselves before they move to Vegas.
I agree. And we've seen what they've been doing with them spending money, getting free agents, contract extensions. They just extended Jacob Wilson. They extended Tyler Soderstrom last year. Nick Kurtz, they're probably eyeing him up next. Lawrence Butler's in the outfield. I like watching Lawrence Butler play. They're just a very solid team. The only thing that scares me about them is their pitching staff, rotation and bullpen. But yeah, we'll see what they could do. So now we go from the biggest surprise team to the biggest disappointment. My prediction for the biggest disappointment this season is the New York Mets.
Okay, I can see that.
Because the Mets have this hype every single year, and they can never get the job done. Last season, they signed Juan Soto to a massive contract. They missed the playoffs. A couple years before that, they traded for Francisco Lindor. They're going to win the division. They got bounced in the first round. This year, they got Bo Bichette, Marcus Semien. They traded Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien. They got Freddie Peralta. And I think they're going to miss the playoffs again. So we'll just see what happens with the Mets, but I'm not high on them like other people are for this season.
So I have two teams, kind of from two different reasonings. The first team is the Brewers. I am so sick of them being the number one team in baseball at a point in time for like an entire month where they go on like an 18, 19, 20 game win streak and then you do nothing the rest of the year. It's annoying. It's annoying being in the division. I'm over it. Just stop. Either just be good or suck. It's really annoying. And then the other one I have is the Phillies.
Okay.
What are they, like, I just don't understand. They're another team I feel like they can never get it done. But you have all these guys. All these top guys that are not performing well. They did not perform well last year, which is no excuse. You have Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, Kyle Schwarber. Come on, y'all. Please, I wish I had an ounce of the people on your team, on the Pirates.
So with that being said, Pirate fans, let us know. Are we right? Are we wrong? Do you agree? Are you as optimistic as we are? Or do you think it's just going to be another year of Bob Nutting and Ben Cherington sinking the ship? Let us know your thoughts and come back to this video in October and we'll see how good we do. And we're excited for another year of baseball, so
Happy opening day.
Happy opening day, and without further ado, that's been it. Peace.